All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our sixth mental performance training video of the year with Milwaukee Sting. My name is Coach Busy. And in the month of May, going into June, we will be talking about going all out with grit. Quick recap. I know I've been doing this for each video. At this point, you guys might be sick of it if you watched all the videos, but like I said before, we only get better at these mental skills if we are working on them each week, each day. So I'm going to review them really quick so you guys know to keep working on these things. Our first video, we talked about being team first and me second. And so we're working towards the same goal as a team, same motivation to mind. Our second, we did our game day mentality, preparing for game day mentally as much as we would physically. Our third video was about flow, so making sure that we're perceiving our skill set as matching the challenge at hand, even when we think it doesn't. And then in March, for our fourth video, we talked about performing under pressure, using gratitude to help with our anxieties. And our fifth video, the April video, was about re-evaluating our goals and making each day feel like a championship day and having goals for every practice. So let's talk about what grit is and why it's so important to be really gritty in volleyball, especially at the end of the year. Definition of grit, perseverance and passion for achieving long-term goals. Grit entails working strenuously to overcome challenges and maintaining effort and interest over time, despite failures, adversities, and plateaus in progress. So what does this kind of have to do, I guess, with volleyball and how do we see grit in volleyball? So we can see by the definition, it's kind of about a lot of perseverance, but also in the face of like long-term effort and ups and downs as well. In volleyball, this can kind of look like perseverance during long rallies, tournaments, matches, and seasons. So this time of the year, got to have a lot of grip because you guys have been playing for a while. Our tournaments are long, even though we're kind of through the qualifying season, but it can be long. Rallies can be long, matches can be long. That's where we see some grit. Working hard regardless of mistakes made or how tired you might feel. And so making sure that we are pushing ourselves to play our best, play with full effort, kind of regardless of anything else that's going on. Full effort with our long-term goals in mind. And then showing up to practice or tournaments after a long day or a hard day and working hard and trying your best either way. So I think that's where we see grit the most at this point in the season is just different things going on. Sometimes we have a hard time remembering kind of our why and why we're showing up. Grit is a really good reminder of that, just making sure that we are continuing to work hard. So let's do a little activity and a little reflection. So before you guys start, obviously, like I always say, grab a piece of paper, something to write with. Um, and as I go through this, I'm kind of going to go through one reflection point at a time, but I want you to think about nationals and any remaining tournaments you have, which I believe there's one more in June, and then nationals after that. So think about either of those or both as we're going through this. So got your piece of paper, your pen. If you don't have that yet, please pause the video. And if you do have it, let's get going. The first thing I want you to write is what is my goal? So this seems really broad, but this is kind of our first part of grit. What is our goal? The example could be just making the podium at nationals. It could be winning your next tournament. It could be getting recruited. It could be showing up big for your team. It could be a certain stat that you want to achieve or something you want to do in either of these tournaments. You could write multiple if you want, but I want you to start with this. What is my goal? Pause the video and resume when you are done. Second, what are my reasons for having this goal? So when we set goals, obviously we want to win and we want to be successful, but the why is really important because that kind of is what keeps us going on longer days. So my example is I want to feel successful and I want my teammates to feel that too. I want to make my club and my parents proud. Any example like that, thinking about like, well, we want to win nationals, we want to get recruited, we want to do well for our team. But why? It's not just because people tell us we want to do it, it's you kind of have to have the why too. So what are my reasons for having this goal? Pause the video and resume when you are done. All right, third, what responsibility will I take for achieving this goal? So setting goals is great, having a reason is great, but what are the things that I'm going to do to achieve this? So my examples, I will work as hard as possible each point of each match and every moment of practice. I won't let fear get in my way. That's the responsibility that I would take if I was doing this exercise. I want you guys to think about what responsibility you will take in achieving this goal. Go ahead, pause the video, resume when you're done. And lastly, what tools will I use to reach this goal? Great time to think back to our previous videos. Most of the stuff I've talked about so far could be listed as tools that you will use to reach this goal. But I wrote some stuff that I think is usually helpful for me, which is staying really neutral in my self-talk, never overly positive, never negative, relying on my supports, and always envisioning success and not my mistakes. So kind of tuning into my imagery stuff. And so I want you guys to write down the tools that you're going to use to reach this goal. Pause the video, resume when we are done. So before I get to the next slide, I think it's important and a really great way to talk about grit this way, because when we have our goals in mind and our why, and we commit ourselves to actions that we will take to achieve these goals, I think it makes things, I think it allows us to tap into this grit mindset a lot easier. So grit paired with going all out, the kind of space that we want you guys to be in going into the last month of the season. Important to really keep in mind our long-term goals for each remaining month of the season. And so this is something I talked about in the last captain's meeting, if you guys were with me. But May and June bring a lot of other distractions outside of volleyball, which is great. We have to have the balance. We love, having all our social plans. We love warm weather in Wisconsin. So it's normal to feel like we want to be other places. But when we are in the gym and at tournaments, the gritty mind continues to focus on like why we're there and what we're doing this for. And I think that is super important to help us like really be fully present and go all out in the last month of the season. Working as hard as we can for each remaining moment of the season. You guys have been working hard for the past almost 6 months or so. And if you were playing in school volleyball before that, many months before that as well. But continuous hard work is the best way to repay ourselves for the previous hard work. So if we worked hard to this point, continuing to stay present, be really gritty, and work really hard, is the way that we're going to achieve these goals. And last but not least, letting mistakes be small and failures just be learning moments. So a gritty mindset is not the one that is really tough on themselves for mistakes, but it's actually just the one that uses mistakes to learn and grow and continue to work towards success. And so if you are the type of athlete that likes to replay mistakes in your head and you think it's kind of making yourself tougher, I promise it's not always going to be a helpful tool. Gritty mindset says like I got aced. This is what I did when I got aced. I'm going to continue working hard so that doesn't happen again. So if this is anything like useful on this, feel free to take a second, write any of these down, just so you kind of remember how this can be helpful. So now the good news is that each of you has already used a lot of grit and a gritty mindset at many points this season. You don't have to write anything down, but I want you to pause the video for a second and just think about moments that you felt the things we talked about so far in the video, you felt like kind of pertain to you in terms of being really gritty. So take a second, think about those, resume when you are done, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what I think you guys might be thinking about right now. Could be just any long drill, long practice day that felt like it was really difficult and challenging, but you succeeded and you made it through. That's definitely a gritty mindset. It could be any championship win, especially in day 2 or 3 of a tournament. Or it could be a third place win, or it could be a big win in a big match, especially later in a tournament where you're having to work a little bit harder, but you still have the same goal in mind. Super gritty. Any fifth set victories, which I think I meant to put third set victories. Had the college game on my mind, the high school game. Third set victories, super gritty. It's both it's a shorter match, both team or shorter set, both teams really want to win. But I'm guessing everyone that's watching this video has had a third set victory at some point this year, and I think that that means that you have displayed some grit. Surviving conditionings or stair runs, anything like that is just like you're willing yourself to be done with this thing, but to work really hard while you're doing it, knowing that this is going to help you better achieve your goal someday. Super gritty. So I say all that to say that I want you guys to tap into these mindsets that might have helped you be gritty so far this year and use them in May and June and into nationals. This is a way that you guys get through just doing enough to doing as much as you possibly can to help your team win and make it to the podium. Even if you didn't put that as one of your goals, it's my personal goal for every team at Sting to make it to the podium at nationals because I think it feels really awesome to do it, and that's as high as you can get, and that's a really cool way to show you've accomplished. And so tapping into this and being really gritty is the way to get there. Last but not least, as I always say, let's go get it. Especially this video. Like this video is kind of about just getting after it, using our gritty mindset to work as hard as we can. I will be in Sting in a couple weeks for another round of captains meetings. If you guys need anything from me before you go to nationals, if you just want to chat, either way, feel free to reach out. And as always, let's go Sting.